Hey everyone, welcome back to NDC. Have you ever wanted to save data in your SwiftUI app without setting up servers or managing complex core data stacks? Realm is your answer. Today we're building a simple task list app, something you could use for notes, shopping items, or to-dos in order to dip our toe in the water to learn more about Realm. So why Realm? Well, it's lightweight and fast, works directly with Swift classes, stores data locally, and it's perfect for offline apps. By the end, you'll have a fully working SwiftUI app that saves tasks locally using Realm. So here's a quick little example of what we're building today. My to-do list, you can even see we have the walk dog. Let's go ahead and add another task. We'll do groceries. We can add it to our active tasks, and we can even move it to the completed tasks. And when we relaunch the app, we can see that our data does persist. So if this sounds like something you're interested in learning how to do quickly, let's go ahead and dive on in. So we can start off by creating a new Xcode project. If you want to add this to an existing project, feel free to do so. I'm just going to be starting from scratch. iOS app template. I'm going to call mine realm to do app example, interface SwiftUI, language Swift, and we don't need testing systems or storage. We can go ahead and create that project. So before we begin on any of the coding, we are going to be adding a new package to our Xcode project, and that is how we're going to be enabling Realm. So we're going to go to the File in our Xcode tab, and we're going to go to the Add Package Dependencies. This is going to bring up the Swift Package Manager, and we're going to be able to paste the URL to add Realm to our project. I'll put this URL in the description below. So it would be github.com/realm-swift. Again, link is in the description below, and we're going to paste that in the URL in the top right. It might take a second to load, and we can see here we have the RealmSwift. We'll make sure our dependency rule is on branch, and we're going to add it to our project. And we'll then click the add package. Now it might take a second. It's just going to do a little bit of fetching, a little bit of downloading. And it's going to add the packages to our program. So now that's downloaded the packages, we can see here, choose package products for realm.swift. Now we only want to add RealmSwift. We do not want to add Realm. So for the Realm, we're going to select none. And for our RealmSwift, we're going to select our app target. So double, triple check and add the packages. If you don't, you'll get some really weird errors that are really hard to kind of debug. If you accidentally added both packages, click on your app target. You can go to the project, package dependencies, and you can manage your package here. So if you had the incorrect realm, you can select it and do the minus button. So just as a note, RealmSwift includes the full Realm engine under the hood. You don't need to import both. Okay, we're going to define our first Realm object next. So we're going to create a new Swift file. So we're going to right click on the left side of the screen here, or you can use the plus button in the very bottom left. And we're going to create a new empty file. And let's go ahead and call this one task.swift. So the first thing we're going to do is import RealmSwift. And you get this autofill completion. That does mean you have imported it correctly. And then we're going to define a class for our task. So let's go ahead and create class, and we'll call it task. Now we also want to kind of give it some definitions, and the first one we're going to do is object, and we're also going to make it identifiable. We're going to go ahead and add a brace and add a space. So essentially we're defining a model for each of our tasks, conforming to Realm's object and identifiable for use in SwiftUI. So if you option click on object, it'll tell you a little bit more, and you'll notice that we have a tag here of persisted, as well as all the supported property types, which is a whole lot of them. So we're going to use the @persisted property wrapper here. Then in the brackets, we're going to give it a primary key. Use my autofill there, and we're going to set this value to be true. And then we're going to create a variable for ID, which is the object ID. Essentially, this is going to be our unique identifier for each item, and it's generated automatically. Think of things like UUID, and that's where we're also using that identifiable. We're going to create another @persisted, and this time we'll create a variable for title, which will be a string value, and we'll have the default equal an empty string. So this will be a title or maybe description of those different tasks. Then we'll do another one, so another persisted, and we'll do a variable called isCompleted, and this will be a Boolean value, and we'll set this default to be false. This is going to be a flag indicating whether the task is completed or not. Now in my to-do app, I also want to add some categories to model a one-to-many relationship with our different tasks. So I'm going to create another class within our file here, and I'm going to call it category. This is also going to be an object, and it's also going to be identifiable. I'm going to go ahead and add our brace. We're also going to make it identifiable. So identifiable, there we go, add our brace. And we're also going to want to include that unique identifier, so we can even just copy and paste our persisted key here. And let's go ahead and add a persisted variable for the name, which is going to be a string, default with an empty value, and then we'll have some active items as well as completed items. If you remember on my sample app, I kind of had them separated. So we're going to use that persisted variable, let's call it active items. And this is going to equal capital R realm, capital S Swift dot list with a capital L. And then we're going to be passing through the list of our task. We're using those angled brackets. Then we're going to put empty kind of parameters after with our normal brackets. And then because we have completed items, let's also add a persisted variable for completed items. Once again, going to equal that RealmSwift dot list task, empty brackets there. So this is going to be that category model. Now within our object, we're going to create some backlinks to the categories that own this specific item. So we're going to do two more @persisteds, and we're going to use the origin property. So this declares a linking objects property with the given property name. So for the string, we're going to look for our active items spelled the exact same way. Outside of the brackets, we're going to have a variable active category. And then we're going to have our linking objects. And then we're going to pass through that category. This is going to allow them to talk back and forth to each other. We're going to do another persisted origin property, and this time for the completed items. And this one will be completed category. Linking the objects from the category as well. Okay, so this is our task class that not only has the tasks, but also has the categories that they're broken into. Let's go ahead and hook this up into our app, and then we'll go ahead and explore our content view. So we're going to want to also import RealmSwift here. Now, in working with things like observable objects or Swift data, we're often kind of injecting an environment or model context into our app. No different with Realm. We're going to be doing the dot environment, and then we're going to be doing the / dot realm configuration. Should get the autofill there, comma, capital R realm dot configuration dot default configuration. Now we'll get a little error up here saying app is ambiguous for this type, and we're just going to replace this app here with SwiftUI dot app. Alrighty, that should allow it to have the default configuration, allow it to kind of access the Realm context and save it to our iPhone or even simulator, which actually goes on your Mac. Let's still start off by importing RealmSwift. And under the structure, we're going to use an @observed results. We're going to look for the task.self. We can call this one variable of task. Now, this essentially is going to observe live updates from the list of task objects in Realm. We'll then use our state private variable for a new task, which will just default as an empty string. All right, I'm going to get rid of our placeholders in our VStack here, and I'm going to right click on the VStack, and I'm going to embed, and we're going to make this container a navigation view. Then after the VStack, I'm going to add an HStack for our list here. And I'm going to create a text field so people can add a new task. So let's do text field, placeholder, new task. And that text is going to be that binding variable of new task. We can also give it a little bit of style, so text field style. Let's do the rounded border style. After that, we'll add a button. We'll give it the text of add our brace. We're going to use this button to add the new task to the realm list and clear the input field as well. So we're going to create a guard, and we're going to use the exclamation point, new task dot is empty. Else, we're going to go ahead and add our brace, return. Make sure you have a space before and after you return, otherwise you'll get a weird error. We're then going to reference the binding of our task. Maybe I should have called it tasks multiple. Oh well, we'll get there. And then we'll do the dot append. And then for the value, it's going to be the capital T task. We'll then add a bracket with the value. We can do our square brackets. Title. Then add a colon. New task. And then we'll clear the new task by setting it to be an empty string. Oh, and I forgot the brackets in there apparently. So this should prevent us from adding empty tasks. This will then take that task, add it to the new task list, and then reset the new task string value to be empty. So something you might notice is our preview might be taking a little bit extra long to load. This could be because of one of two things. One, it's still initializing Realm, or you're still downloading or managing that package. The other is when we are working in our content view, we should also be able to support the preview with Realm. What I would suggest doing is going to your app file. You can come on over here and copying and pasting our environment we set up, or you can type it out again. We're going to go ahead and paste that on in, and instead of the .default configuration, we're instead going to add some brackets. And in the brackets, we're going to do in memory identifier with a little bit of camel case there, then colon, and then capital P preview within a string. So those quotation marks there. And that should be able to inject it within our preview here. Alrighty, and we can see that our preview has loaded and we have our new task. Now we just need a way to view all of those tasks. So after our H stack here, we're going to go down a couple braces. Let's go ahead and create a list. This is going to display all of our tasks grouped into two separate sections. So immediately after the list, let's add a section, and we can give it a header with some text. And this one can be for our active tasks. And go ahead and add our brace here. So we're going to filter the tasks in order to show only those that have yet to be completed. So we'll do for each. Then we'll look at our task dot filter, add our brace, and we're going to look for the ones that are not completed. So we're going to do exclamation point $0 dot is completed. We'll add a space there. Outside of the squiggly and that brace, we're going to add another brace, and we'll say item in. We're then going to add an H stack, the brace here, because each row is going to be a horizontal stack with the task of the title and the completion icon as well. We'll make sure you have a capital S on that H stack there. So we're going to first show the task title. So we'll do text, then we'll have the item dot title. From there, we'll add a spacer, and then an image, and this will show a circle or a check mark depending on the completion state. So we'll do system name. We'll do item dot is completed space question mark for our ternary operator here. So when it is completed, let's have the check mark dot circle dot fill, which is a system image. We'll use our colon to say otherwise. It would be a circle. We also want to be able to give people the functionality to complete those. So after the image, we'll do dot on tap gesture. We'll then add a brace, and we'll do if let item equals item dot thaw, THAW, empty brackets, comma, let realm equals item dot realm. Then add a brace, and And we'll try realm.write, add another brace, item.isCompleted toggle with the empty brackets. So essentially tapping the toggle is going to enable that completion state. The thaw returns a mutable thawed reference to the realm object. This is required for making write transactions essentially. Oh, and you have to actually spell realm correctly. But yeah, it's required for those realm transactions. So let's go ahead and quickly add a task. We'll notice it kind of disappears after because we haven't handled those completed tasks, but let's do walking the dog and add it. And now when we press on this, it's going to complete. We're not displaying it yet, but using the thaw is returning that mutable thawed reference. It's then writing it saying, hey, this has been completed. Okay, after this section, and we have so many braces, definitely come up here and double click on this section. We're going to add another one, and this is where we'll be able to show those completed tasks. So we'll give this one a header with some text. We'll say completed tasks. Add our brace. And we're once again going to filter the task items to only show those that are completed. So for each task dot filter, task singular dot filter, add a brace. We're going to do our $0 dot is completed. Last time we looked at the opposite, say is not completed. This time we're looking to see if they are completed. Outside of the brace bracket combo here, we'll do item in. We'll then want to include an H stack again. We'll have the text, which is the item dot title. We'll add a spacer. And then because the task has been completed, let's add an image. We can just have our system one, so system name, and we'll do the checkmark dot circle dot fill, another great, which is that system image. We can even add a foreground style to make it green. Let's go ahead and test this out. So walking the dog, add, complete it, and now we can see it within our completed tasks. It's marked with that green check mark. So if we really want to, we can actually toggle this between, maybe I made a mistake and I can actually click this and set it back to the previous mode. We can just copy and paste our on tap gesture here. So after the image, let's go ahead and paste that. Our content view will reload. Let's add another task. Press it, and then we can press it again to uncomplete it. If that's something you want to do, feel free to do so. All right, well, that's awesome, but what if we want to actually delete the task? So we would want to go to the end of the for each here. So we'll do it in the first option, and then we'll kind of handle it in the second one, and we'll add a dot on delete. We don't want the perform here. Instead, we're just going to have the braces, and we're going to create an index set in. And here we're going to map index set to the filtered array to get correct objects, since for each is on a filtered array. We'll let active items equal task dot filter. We're going to be looking for, in this case, the opposite. So the exclamation point $0 dot is completed. We'll then create a let for objects to delete, which is going to equal that index set dot map. And then we're going to look at the active items. We're going to add a square bracket and our $sign and our 0. We're then going to create a quick for loop. So for obj, which is short for objects, in objects to delete, add our brace, and we're going to use thaw to make the object mutable for deletion here as well. So if let thawed equals obj.thaw, empty brackets, and add a comma, let realm equals thawed.realm, and then we'll delete the object within the realm write transaction. We'll add a brace, then try realm.write, add a brace, realm.delete. I'm going to pass to that thawed item within the brackets there. Let's go ahead and add a new task. I don't know why I'm calling it Yeti. We should be able to swipe to delete, and it has been successfully deleted. If you want to copy and paste this to save some time again, let's go to the end of the for each, add the dot on delete, and this time We'll just remove the exclamation point because we're going to be looking at those filters of things that have been completed. Go and add it, let's complete it, and swipe to delete it away as well. So again, we're kind of creating that index set or mapping them to the filtered array to get the correct objects. And then we're using the thaw to make the object mutable for that deletion. We're grabbing that thawed object and then we're deleting it with the write transaction using the realm.delete with that thawed item. Okay, we are pretty much good to go with our UI. You could obviously make it look a lot better than mine, but this should be your simple task list using Realm. Let's go ahead and see our persistence in real time by building it on the simulator. All right, here is our app. Let's go ahead and add some tasks. I'll just do task 1, task 2. You can also do like the on return. That'd be nice quality of life. Let's go and add them. We can see that we can complete them, uncomplete them, etc. We can also delete them. And let's make sure our persistence works. Let's close out of the app. Open it again, and there we go. Task 2 and 3 stay. Now, something that's really cool about Realm is you can actually view these files on your computer or on the iPhone. I'm going to show you how to access the file path for these tasks, but we also will need an external tool to view them. So at the end of our navigation view, we're going to add a dot on up here. We're going to add our brace instead of the brackets, and then we're going to want to print out where this file is located. So we'll print. We're going to look at realm.configuration.default configuration .file URL, and we're going to force unwrap that with the exclamation point. So now when the view loads, and we can either do this through running it on the simulator or even in the preview. All right, and in our console, we can see here, we want to grab from this kind of third / or the / users, all the way down to the documents here. We don't want the default .realm. We're going to copy this. We're going to go to terminal. And we're going to do open space, and then we're going to paste that URL. And that's going to open it up in our documents. But you can see here we have a .realm file, we have a realm lock. Can't really view them, but at least they're within our documents. We know where these files are. If you do want to view them, you're going to need Realm Studio. Let's go ahead and grab the Realm Studio. We should be able to download it here. Okay, and let's go ahead and open it up. Once it's installed, Realm Studio. We can open up a file, Realm file from here, or we can just double click now that we have it installed on our .realm extension, and it should open on up. And there we go. We can actually see our Realm thing here where we have our category, and we even have the tasks with the ID. We can see the string. We can see if they're completed or not. We can expand this window so it's a little bit more clear. We can even create the tasks and manage everything within this kind of Realm window. So it's kind of like a little bit of a database that you can observe and manage. You can see those object IDs, etc., etc. So we won't use SQL to query it. Realm uses its own unique high performance engine and Swift native query API. So for this tutorial, we're keeping things simple. So this is just a very brief overview of Realm. Feel free to peek inside and check out your app's data. So like and subscribe if you found this helpful. You can always grab the code from the description below. Otherwise, dream big, code bigger, and we'll see you in the next one.